Hello, Jillian. It's so lovely to see you.
Hi
And
there. How are you?
I'm really good. And I just want to say thank you for all you do for humanity. It's absolutely. Congratulations, by the way, on your stand ovation on your speech at your national capital. Could you
Thank you.
please tell the audience briefly what you spoke about? Because it's so true to my heart.
Oh, you're so kind. I went with a group of MDs, PhDs, health advocates, and activists to our nation's capital in the United States. And we had a Senate hearing, quite honestly, about how to end chronic disease in America. When I say quite honestly, I mean we were quite honest about what's going on, what the bigger obstacles are, and how to remove them. So in the States, we have 10,000 chemicals in our food. In most other countries of the developed world, there are 400. The rest are illegal. I was just on the phone with a friend in Singapore the other day, and she was saying, do you realize that if somebody puts that crap in the food here, it's a jail sentence? I mean, it's just wild the level of corruption that we have between big food, big pharma, and the FDA, and lobbying the politicians. So being able to first expose that and then apply pressure from a socioeconomic perspective. How do you get people to stop buying Kellogg's, for example? And when they feel the impact on their bottom line, will they make the change? And quite simply give, at the very least, Americans the formulations they give people in Canada, for example. And how do you apply pressure to the politicians to do the right thing? And that's the big goal, is to incentivize a systemic change. Because while I advocate for self-agency, move more, eat less, use common sense with your food choices, those 10,000 chemicals are not being removed, and you and I are exposed to them, and everybody listening, every time we take a sip of water, every time we inhale, every time we eat at a restaurant. I mean, it's, the people of, I was going to say America, Americans, but honestly, globally, anywhere the standard American diet has managed to get a foothold, people need help. They need systemic help. The food is addictive, it's toxic, and we can effectuate change on our own, but it sure would be a hell of a lot easier if we had some fundamental change to the way the system works. So that was a long answer. I apologize.
No, it's so
I'm like,
passionate
wrap it
because
up, Jill. Come on. Jeez. I'm sorry.
that's all right. Because my partner and I have been traveling around Australia in a camper van, and we were devastated with the state of the land, the degradation. And the same when we went round Wales
Yeah.
and France recently, just seeing the tiled brown fields everywhere. So the alarm bells go off. And people don't understand, you know, they're quick to pick the bright rosy apples in the supermarket, but they don't understand about the chemicals. So, how do you think we can get this message out?
What we're trying to do is first educate people. That's the first step. And then incite some outrage so they're ready to take action, and then give them some very easy, actionable steps. So, with regard to what you can do right now for yourself, get a water purifier on your tap, get an air filter, and keep your windows open to get some of that crap out of your air, especially in your bedroom where you're spending almost half of your life. Then turn around and use common sense with the food choices. So, yes, whole foods are going to be better than ultra processed foods. I'll take the apple over the bag of chips, and then I want people to start banning the pesticides, herbicides, fungicides that are on that apple. That's the help that people really need from a systemic level. That said, choose the apple, not the chips. Have a step goal. Get yourself a walking pad, and when you're at your desk, walk. Put your tablet on the little desk of the treadmill or the walking pad and shuffle along. sitting is arguably the new smoking. So being able to get 10,000 steps in, regulate how much food you take in, make some small changes to your food quality, removing drinks that have chemicals, sugar, and calories that you simply don't need, are simple things you can do right now. And then we have created in the States a site called endchronicdisease.com where people can email their representatives, demand change. They can sign a petition to companies like Kellogg's where they can demand change. And we're going to start setting up strategic boycotts of these big food companies because if there's a gentleman who I work with named Jason Karp, who's absolutely brilliant and studies the economics of this stuff for a living, if you can impact them by roughly 5%, they will turn around and change it tomorrow. So what we want people to do are those low hanging fruit actions. And then, of course, put pressure on the powers that be to make some changes that we simply can't make as individuals.
That's wonderful. Hopefully, we can get that happening in Australia. And just to wrap up, if there was one thing that you could do to change the world, what would it be?
Oh my gosh. I'm a bit more familiar with how it works here in America, but the number one problem we've got in the States, which is probably illegal in Australia, is lobbying. So, lobbying is legal bribery. And the changes we've seen that are overwhelmingly negative have to do with some legislation passed in 2010 here called Citizens United. And this is where monster corporations can give tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars to political candidates, and you've turned our republic into an oligarchy. And it does impact the rest of the world because America is such a force on the global stage. So, right now, getting the money out of our politics, so the choices these people in power make are not about how do I stay in power, how do I line my pockets, but what's the best thing for the people of America and subsequently the people around the world, the global citizens that we impact on a regular basis. And I think changing that legislation would be massive, to say the least.
Wow, that's wonderful. And yeah, like you talked about chronic diseases and autism. Everybody knows, you know, that food is destroying our health, yet they turn a
Crazy.
blind eye.
It's crazy. One of the gentlemen who was on the panel with me, Max, sorry, I was going to say food is your slowest form of medicine or your quickest form of poison. It's
Oh,
wild. It really is.
thank you so much, Jillian. You're such an inspiration to us all.
Thank you.